Forward as a former minister and elder in the Christian Church, it was my task to enlighten those who continued to walk in darkness. After embracing Islam, I felt a great need to help those who had not yet been blessed to experience the light of Islam. I thank God Almighty for having mercy on me, making me come to know the beauty of Islam as taught by Prophet Muhammad and his rightly guided followers. Only through God's mercy do we receive true guidance and the ability to follow the straight path, which leads to success in this life and the hereafter. Praise be to God for the kindness shown to me by Sheikh Abdullah bin Abdulaziz bin Baz when I embraced Islam. I appreciate and will pass on the knowledge I gained from every meeting with him. There are many others who have helped me through encouragement and knowledge, but for fear of omitting anyone, I will refrain from trying to list them. Suffice it to say that I thank God Almighty for every brother and sister He has allowed to play a role in my growth and development as a Muslim. I pray that this brief work will be of benefit to all. I hope that Christians will come to discover that there is still hope for the unstable conditions that prevail within Christendom. The answers to Christian problems will not be found with Christians themselves because they are, in most cases, the root of their own problems. On the contrary, Islam is the solution to the problems that plague the world of Christianity, as well as the problems facing the supposed world of religion as a whole. May God guide us all and reward us according to the best of our actions and intentions. Abdullah Muhammad al-Faruq at Taif, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Beginnings. As a boy I grew up with a deep fear of God. Being partly brought up by a grandmother who was a fundamentalist Pentecostal, the church became an integral part of my life very early on. When I reached the age of 6, I knew very well the benefits that awaited me in heaven for being a good boy and the punishment waiting in hell for disobedient boys. I was taught by my grandmother that all liars were destined to go to hell, where they would burn forever. My mother worked 2 full-time jobs and kept reminding me of the teachings passed on to me by her mother. My younger brother and older sister didn't seem to take our grandmother's warnings about the future life as seriously as I did. I remember seeing the full moon when it took on a deep reddish hue and starting to cry, because I was taught that one of the signs of the end of the world would be the moon turning blood red. At the age of 8, I began to develop such a fear of what I was taught were the signs in the heavens and on earth of the day of judgment that I had nightmares about what that day would be like. Our house was near a set of railroad tracks and trains passed by frequently. I can remember being woken up by the horrible sound of the locomotive whistle and thinking that I had died and was being resurrected after hearing the sound of the trumpet. These teachings were ingrained in my young mind through a combination of oral teachings and reading a set of children's books known as the Bible story. Every Sunday I went to church dressed in my best clothes. My grandfather was our means of transportation. Church lasted for what seemed like hours. We'd arrive around 11 in the morning and wouldn't leave until sometimes 3 in the afternoon. I remember falling asleep on my grandmother's lap on many occasions. Once my brother and I were allowed to leave the church between the end of Sunday school and the morning service to sit with our grandfather in the railroad yard and watch the trains go by. He wasn't a churchgoer, but he made sure my family got there every Sunday. Sometime later he suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed and, as a result, we were unable to attend church regularly. This period was to be one of the most crucial stages in my development.